Assalamu alaikum students. Today we will talk about speed time graph. So in the previous video or in our previous lecture we had discussed about the distance time graph. You can watch that video that is already uploaded on my channel. Now we will talk about speed time graph. So here you can see two variables, two quantities, velocity and time, velocity and time. So what does it represent? What information does it give to us? Velocity time will give us the acceleration of a body. So what is acceleration? So first of all, we discuss about acceleration. After that we will discuss about these graphs. So I am just writing here in this side by just drawing the line. Acceleration. What is acceleration? What do you know about acceleration? Acceleration is basically the change in velocity with respect to the time. So I'm just simply defining it. Change in velocity or speed, you can say it. Change in velocity with respect to the time is known as acceleration. The equation of the acceleration is A is equal to Vf minus Vi over T. So what is this? What is Vf and what is Vi? Why there is written two velocities? It is the final velocity. It is the first velocity. So final minus initial velocity over time is known as acceleration. Acceleration will be produced in that case if the body is changing its velocity. Simply students, if the body is changing its velocity, then acceleration is produced. So either it is in negative, either it is in positive. So we will discuss it later on. Final velocity minus initial velocity. So we will simply call it change in velocity with respect to the time is known as acceleration. Okay, if now let me just discuss about if acceleration is decreasing, then you will simply call it deceleration. What is deceleration? The term is deceleration. Known as negative acceleration, simply you will just write it negative acceleration. It is negative acceleration. Mean to say, if the decrease come in velocity, if the velocity is decreasing. So let's just move towards our today's topic, speed time graph. Okay, what does the first graph tell us? In the first graph, here you can see a straight line parallel to x-axis, like we have already discussed in our previous video for distance time graph. So what does it represent? Speed time graph. It means body has started moving. Now it is not at initial point, it is not at origin, which means body is moving with some velocity. Suppose the velocity at this point is 10 meter per second, you can say it. With the passage of the time, body is covering the distance and moving with 10 meter per second velocity, which represents. So you will simply write it or say it, body is moving with constant velocity. This graph is showing constant or uniform velocity. Constant or uniform velocity. This graph is showing constant or uniform velocity because velocity is not changing, or sorry, you can say it constant or uniform acceleration, not velocity, because now velocity and time will give us acceleration. So velocity and time will give us acceleration. So the acceleration that is producing here is constant or uniform. Constant or uniform acceleration. Velocity time will give you acceleration and distance time will give you velocity. That is already discussed. Okay, now let's move towards second one, velocity and time. Here you can see a slope, a line which is not parallel to x or y axis. It is slope. Okay, it is inclined to x and y axis. Now what does it tell? It is telling us that the velocity is changing with respect to the time. It means acceleration is produced in that case, because what is the definition? Definition is the velocity is changing with respect to the time, change in velocity with respect to the time. Now we want to calculate it. Suppose if I want to calculate the velocity of these 2 points, 10 and 20. Now because velocity is changing from 0 to 10, 10 to 20, suppose I am taking 10, 20 and 10. Now what is the equation of the acceleration? Acceleration is equal to Vf minus Vi over t. Simply, what is the final velocity? Final means the ending point. You will take this final and this is the initial point. Just simply write 20 minus the initial point is 10. What is the time? How will you write the time? There is the difference, there is an interval between two points, 10 and 5. 20 meter per second speed is at 10 seconds, but 10 meter per second speed is at 5 seconds. So what is the final time? So you can write 10 final minus initial time simply, but you will not mention it like final time or initial. You will just write it directly for your convenience. 10 is the final time and it is the initial time. I am just telling you, if you want to write it directly, then simply you will don't write this step of subtracting, just write the direct. 20 minus 10, that is 10. 10 minus 5, that is 5, which will give you 2 meter per second square acceleration. The unit of the acceleration is 2 meter per second square. Meter per second square, the value is 2. Now here you can also write the unit. Unit is meter per second square. The unit of the velocity is meter per second. Now the unit of the acceleration is meter per second square, because velocity is already included in it, and velocity is dividing on time. So second is also added into the upper one, then it will give you meter per second square. Okay, so what does it tell us? It tells us the body is moving with constant velocity. Simply, velocity is not changing. If you want to take velocity between 2 points, 0 and 5, and now you have calculated between 5 and 10, the interval will remain same in that case. So similarly, this line is also showing uniform acceleration or constant acceleration. I have just simply mentioned uniform acceleration. Now let's talk about third one. Here you can see in the third one, the line is not straight, line is curved. So in these curved lines, when you will calculate acceleration, it will give you different value, which is Vf minus Vi over t. Now suppose if you are taking these 2 points, 20 and 10, so what is the first what is the final velocity for this one? That is 20. What is now minus 10, final velocity, initial velocity, time interval for final time you can write 24. For initial time you will write here minus 7. By just solving it, subtracting the first one, you will get 10. Second one, 24 minus 7 will give you, I think so, 17. Okay, by just dividing it you will get the point or values which is not same. If you want to calculate the intervals between 0 and 5, 0 and 7, now it is 7, 0 and 7, now you will just come to know that answer is not same in both case, in both velocities. Now acceleration, this line is showing acceleration is changing at any point with respect to the time. When acceleration will change with respect to the time, sorry, if the velocity is changing with respect to the time, when velocity is changing with respect to the time, it will known as acceleration. The acceleration is produced in this third graph, third one. So simply you will write here, I'm just writing in front of him, variable acceleration. Because acceleration is changing at any point due to change in its velocity. Okay, I think all concept is clear now. Now if you have any question, you can ask in the comments. Okay students, Allah Hafiz.